Hi everyone, welcome back to Gastronomy Games. Today we are going over more pan roasting and pan sauce techniques, this time with chicken. Chicken breast doesn't have to be dry or boring. We'll be going over some tricks of the trade on how to make this ordinary meat into something a little bit more extraordinary. So, without any further ado, let's get to the kitchen. The first step of cooking chicken breast is to buy quality chicken from the store. The highest quality chicken you can get from the store is preferably local, free range, organic, air chilled, and has no stock or water added. That is not monetarily viable for many home cooks. However, I would highly suggest paying up for at least no stock or water added chicken breast. What many purveyors will do to keep costs down is inject chicken breast with cheap stock to increase their weight. This not only makes them a worse deal than they appear, but also gives them a chewy texture and diluted and somewhat sour flavor. When you have your chicken breast picked out, salt it generously on both sides and allow it to come to room temperature for about 45 minutes before cooking. This will keep a hard to chew film from forming and provide an overall better texture. Heat your pan on medium heat before adding in your vegetable or other high smoke point oil. If your pan and oil aren't hot when you add your chicken, it will absorb oil and you will never get as good of a sear. Carefully lay your chicken down in the pan, presentation side down. If you have chicken with skin, the presentation side is the side the skin would be on. If your chicken doesn't make a sizzling sound when it's added to the pan, it's your pan's way of telling you it's not hot enough for meat yet. We want to get some nice color on our chicken, so it's important not to move it too much as this can disrupt its sear. This browning is known as the Maillard reaction, which occurs when amino acids break down, giving seared meat its distinctive flavor. Once our chicken is browned, we're going to flip it before adding roughly 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter into the corner of our pan, then adding 2 smashed garlic cloves, a couple sprigs of thyme, and rosemary directly into the butter. When the butter is melted, tilt your pan towards you and use a spoon to baste over top of the chicken. Butter basting helps lock in moisture, texture, and color, along with delivering incredible depth of flavor. When the butter starts to reach dark brown, put the aromatics on top of the chicken and put the pan into a preheated 350-degree oven. Placing the aromatics on top will keep them from burning, as well as delivering more flavor into our chicken. To tell if your chicken is cooked through, I'd highly suggest investing in a probe thermometer until you feel comfortable working without one. Chicken is fully cooked at 165 degrees Fahrenheit. However, since this was just in a hot oven, it'll continue to cook even when it's out of the pan. So we want to pull it out at about 160. If you are paranoid about your chicken being undercooked, you can certainly take it all the way to 165 in the oven. However, it will be a little bit overcooked. It will be a little bit dry if you choose to do this. Our chicken is fully cooked. We're just going to let it rest on our cutting board while we make a sauce in our pan. There's a ton of flavor to build off of left behind from cooking our chicken. To start, we're going to drain off any excess fat, which can be saved for future low temp cooking jobs, and heat our pan on low. When our pan is hot, which will not take long because it just came out of the oven, we're going to cook 2 tablespoons of minced shallots just until they are brown. While you're cooking your shallots, if you start to notice that your pan is a little bit dry, don't be afraid to add back a little bit of your reserved fat that you pulled out of the pan. If you aren't planning to strain your sauce, make sure your shallots are minced very finely. Otherwise, they could be texturally unappealing in your finished sauce. Once your shallots have softened and turned a light brown, go ahead and add in about 3 tablespoons of champagne vinegar. You can use any kind of white wine vinegar if you would like, but we are using champagne today, followed by a cup of chicken stock. If there are any brown bits or fond on the bottom of the pan, scrape them up with a wooden spoon or silicone spatula. If any juices pool on the cutting board from your chicken, add that to reduce as well. The idea of a pan sauce is to build off this fond that is left in a used pan. This makes it incredibly versatile because all that is required is some kind of liquid to dissolve the fond off the pan, so get creative with what you use. Our sauce is almost to the consistency that we want. Once the sauce is thick enough that it doesn't run back together when you drag a spatula across the bottom of the pan like this, take the pan off the heat and stir in 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter, 1 pat at a time. In French cooking, this technique is known as monter, which means to mount with butter, and it both makes the flavors of your sauce more cohesive, but more importantly, adds phenomenal texture that is hard to replicate with any other technique. This same process can be used in a wide range of sauces, risotto, purees, or any other dish that butter can be stirred into. The reason why we want to do this stirring off the heat is because butter is actually an emulsion of fats, milk solids, and water, and we don't want this emulsion to break. If it does, our fat will rise to the surface and our sauce will become greasy. If we can keep this emulsion together, however, it makes a velvety smooth, luxurious sauce. When all the butter is added, we are going to finish our sauce with minced fresh thyme and serve it with our sliced pan-roasted chicken. You can always strain this sauce if you would like, but for home cooking, rustic is usually more than fine. I hope you learned something in this video. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I can't wait to cook with you all again soon.